Been kindly sent this radio by TIDRADIO to do a review. I'm not being paid for the review, so it will be an honest review. So have a quick look what they've sent me. It's the TD-H3 Plus, and I'll just have a quick look what's in the box. I'm not going to go into too much depth. There's plenty of other reviews for there. There's a couple of straps there. There's a charging cable there, which is Type A to Type C. I don't know whether that's charger or data. There's another one there, so that one could be for the data. I'll have to read the manual to find out. We have in there a couple of brackets for the belt. The charger. Yeah, they've sent me a European style pin charger. I'm in the UK, so we have 3 pin plugs, but I can get an adapter for that. Or I'll just use an alternative charger. I'll just have to see what the specification says for it. It says 5 volts, 200 milliamp hour. Is it 2000 or 200? And here they've also sent me, well actually, look, open that a little bit. Got the antenna. There's no markings on the antenna. Go around it. Oh, on the bottom. It's for 144 and 435 megahertz. Because this is a multi-band radio, so I might need different antennas for different things. What I also have is the wireless Bluetooth speaker microphone. This is nice. Nice piece of kit. Nice and heavy. Let's have a quick look what's inside it. And you got a leaf for my battery in there. 3.7 volt, 1500 milliamp hour. That's quite nice. Not sure how it operates. A charging port there. I presume this is the on-off button.
Power on.
And I presume this turns it off. We'll get into a bit more
Power
detail.
off.
So that's quite nice. And then obviously we've got the radio, which this does feel nice. I must admit, feels very robust. You've got a headphone and I presume charging socket in there, or I think that's for the data, because I believe on this one you can charge the battery independently. That's a nice feature. Looks very similar to the H3 model. This area down the bottom is slightly different, but looking at some other reviews, I have noted that they've changed the menu system on it. But let's power him up.
Welcome.
That's quite nice.
Menu.
As you can see, you've got a complete new menu system now, which is quite nice. Yeah, quite impressed with that. So my main focus on this is going to be some receiver sensitivity, power output and power levels, and maybe firmware update to have a quick look at doing that. There are lots of other YouTube videos that cover a lot more aspects of this on the receiver range and the AM and all the rest of it. I'm not too interested in that at the moment. I'm more looking at the technical aspects, weight, comparison against other radios. So yeah, this review is basically going to do a cross comparison really between the original model and a few other radios, such as the Bofang and maybe the Yahtzee radio, just to so you can get some idea on the receiver sensitivity and the power outputs. Prior to using the radio and doing any tests, I want to update the firmware in it. So you'll have to go onto the TIDRADIO web page, which is walkietalkiessoftware.com, and from there you will need to actually log in. So if we find our actual radio, we go into software and go down to H3 Plus, and there's an option here for a download. If we click on that, it will ask us to log in, so you will need to put in your login details or create an account. So if we log in on there, and now we can click again on the download button. This will give us the end of the option to actually download the file. I've already got it. I'll download it again just for the sake of doing it, but you might find that you come up with an error that it won't download in Google. And this is to do with your safe browsing security settings, and if you're not set to standard protection or do not protect, you won't be able to download the file. I think it's because it contains an exe file, I'm not really sure. But obviously do this all at your own risk. So you need to change this and then re-download the file. If we then go actually have a look at that file, so I've got it open here, it comes down as a zip file. If we unzip it, we've got the in the folder, it's the upgrade H3 firmware ham unlock, and it's for the update of the via Type-C cable, and inside there's 3 files. There's a readme in there, so if we click on that, and this shows you exactly what to do to download the file. And also, if we also have a look at the actual update, it's version 1.40, and the 2 files are H3 Plus update Kendwood.zip and H3 update Type-C, which is the one we've downloaded. Apparently this adds a few extra languages: Turkish, German, Spanish. Added a menu font colour to radio settings menu 4.2, and displays mode switching on the radio setting page, which is .15 display. So those are the updates for this, but we're going to do those prior to the update. So now really all we need to do is follow through on these instructions and set the radio up for its update. Right, we're going to look at updating the firmware on this radio. So we need to plug the Type A into the PC. Mine's currently a Windows 11 PC, and I'll be on this flap. Inside there is the Type-C connection, so we push that in. Now this is the awkward bit. We've now got to hold PTT button 3. I'm trying to do this so you can see the screen as it's happening, and power it on. And when we release the buttons, we get that message, and it just goes to a blackened screen, and it's now ready for actually updating the firmware. So if we now go into the update folder, and we click on update app.exe, devices online, file name, open. So we need to tell it what the file name is. That's done. Let me just check the details of what it said there. Update, reset after finger. Okay, so we need to do a reset as well. So where was the app? Reset after success, and now we need to just click on update. Unfortunately, there's nothing on the screen to show you of the radio, but it does show then that it's actually updating. And this is firmware version 4.42. So according to that, that's updated now, and the radio is actually rebooted, as you can see there. So hopefully that's the firmware update done. Just after I've finished updating the firmware, a new firmware version came out, and it has a spectrum analyzer function. So I've just re-updated the firmware. It's now version 1.0.41, and if you press and hold button 7 now, you get a spectrum analyzer. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I do like that, to be honest. That's a real nice feature. Anyway, that's on version 1.0.41. I think the first thing we're going to do is some power test levels. I've got a Marconi 2966A radio test set. I'm going to check some of the frequency deviation and also the power output levels for the various settings. and the internal settings are 12.5 kilohertz step, and we're set at Vox level 1 at the moment. So we'll run a few quick tests and just see what the power out levels come out to. I'm going to do some power test levels on 2 meters on the standard calling channel, 145500, and we're set to high power, and we'll show 145500 00061 megahertz, and it's 4.345 watts. Now if we set it to low power, and we're showing 1.312 watts, which is quite low, I think. Let's try the same test on 77s. High power on 77s, and 433500, just calling frequency, and it's 4.487 watts. We'll just switch it now to low power, and we're showing 2.5 watts roughly, thereabouts, at 433500. Going to have a look at the receiver sensitivity. I'm going to start about -133 dBm and work our way up and see when the squelch cuts in. Now it's set at squelch level 1. Let's have a look at what we've got. Yeah, it's about 126. That's quite good. Yeah, happy with that. That's nice and sensitive. This is now the comparison to the original H3. We'll just see where the squelch level 1 setting is on this one. About 120. Turn it down. It's about 120. So the new H3 is a little bit more sensitive on squelch level 1 on the front end. I'm going to do a very unscientific test here, but it should prove whether the front end of these radios, which one's more sensitive. So we've got the original H3 here, we've got the Bofang UV5, we've got the Yaesu FT3D, and we've got the H3 Plus on the end there. And in the background we've just got a signal generator, which is an RF generator. We're just going to generate 145500 and output we're going to start at -80 dB and increase the level, and we've got it should be a 1 kilohertz tone that it's outputting. So let's have a look at reducing now the levels and see which radio kicks in first. Okay, the Yaesu radio is coming in about 169.2. The Bofang is now just coming at -65.7. So let's just take these two out. So we can turn the noise down a bit. And now we'll have a look at these two radios and see which one kicks in first. That's -60 dB. And at -57, the H3 has just come to life. So we'll take that one out. We'll now see when the original H3 comes to life. Just slightly start to hear something. There you go, -49 dB. Now, I always did find the original H3 to be the least sensitive of all the radios I've ever tested on the front end, so that just bears it out really. Well, I hope that's helpful. It's not very scientific, but it proves a point. Just to summarise on the radios, I've got the original H3 and I've got the H3 Plus. Both very nice radios, to be honest. I have sort of like looked at changing the battery packs on them and that. The only difference is the lug on the back there for the hand strap. It's just in a different place, but they are interchangeable, so that's no problem at all with that. The front of the radio there, slightly different layout across there. Looks like a small microphone hole there. There's nothing on this one because I think it's got the Bluetooth link for the speaker microphone. The top of the radios are very slightly different. It does look like a slightly different mould, so the parts might not be interchangeable at all. But yeah, it is a nice radio. Feels very nice. One of the main features that I do like is, well, obviously there's a complete list on the screen there that, you know, I mean, it's a lot. Clock speeds 240 megs. It's got 1 megabyte and 128 megs of internal and external storage compared to the original. There's quite a few differences there. Firmware is updatable obviously by OD Master on the H3 Plus now. I'm still quite happy to just use their app to do it, to be honest, but if I turn the radios on, they have changed the voices as well.
Welcome.
It's a lot softer and nicer on the newer one. But the main feature I do like is the new menu. So if you go into the menu on this one,
Menu.
you get folders. So if you want to look for changing the power, it's just down there on number 4. I don't like that, to be honest. The old menu come up down, you literally got to scroll through 54 options on there, so that is a nice update feature. But both radios are very good, to be honest. Would I recommend buying this one, the H3 Plus? Definitely. I think it's the next generation of radios with Bluetooth. It's very robust, it's very well made. There seems to be lots of features on there that I haven't even gone into yet. I mean, I haven't even looked at the Bluetooth linking or anything at all. I'll save that for another video. I was more interested in just getting the firmware and just seeing what the power levels were like. Now, I have found that the power levels on the new H3 Plus on 2 meters are slightly down. On the original, it was over 5 watts. They may have reduced it to get it through compliance, but 2 meters, you're looking at 4.5 watts and only 1.5 watts on low power, and on 77s it's about 4.5 watts and 2.5 watts, which is what the manual states. But I was finding on 2 meters I could only get about 1.5 watts on low power, but that's not really a problem, to be honest. So, but would I recommend buying the radio? Yes, definitely, and I will put a link at the bottom of the page, so you can actually look at clicking at buying one of these. It's nothing to do with me, it's actually direct from the manufacturers. I don't get anything from it. They kindly sent me this radio to review, and I'm quite happy just to do that. And I will do a follow-up video showing some of the other Bluetooth functions and links and the AM modes. But the other nice feature, which I've showed you before, is the new addition in the new firmware of the band scope. So you've got a small spectrum analyzer there, which is quite nice. That's in the newest firmware. So if you want to install that, it saves you going through a third-party type, like they did with this one. I think you could hack these ones and get one on there, but they've actually thought about it on this one and just put it in there. Well, I hope that helped.